Environmental Utilities takes pride in providing reliable utility infrastructure that allows customers to turn on their tap and expect clean, refreshing water each and every time, really without ever having to think about it. The surge of metal theft in our nation and our communities specifically is a significant cause of concern, and for many, but particularly for the water utility. That's why the efforts of Senator Emerson and our partnership with Roseville Police are so important. Theft of utility infrastructure, specifically water backflow devices, is very problematic. Since the fall of 2010, we've lost nearly 100 city-owned and privately owned backflow devices throughout the city. This results in considerable cost for replacement, as well as disruption of service until the device is replaced. Backflow devices are required to prevent the contamination of our water supply by physically preventing the backflow of potentially contaminated water back into the distribution system. When a thief removes these devices, it becomes an opportunity for contamination to occur. As an operator of a water utility, we have an obligation to ensure that the water we deliver is safe for our customers to use. Backflow prevention devices are part of that assurance. Metal theft is a problem that must be tackled head-on. So today, in partnership with Roseville Police Department, we're launching the Water Backflow Painting Program. The program really is simple. The city will be painting city-owned backflow devices in Roseville a specific green color. This will allow these devices, if stolen, to be easily detected by law enforcement and makes it far more difficult for thieves to cash in the stolen material. It'll also allow police department to work with local recyclers to be on the lookout for suspect materials. Environmental utilities and the police will also be working with area businesses to raise awareness about metal theft on private property, encourage them to invest in painting their own privately owned devices, and encourage the general public to be the eyes and ears in the community by calling in tips and crimes in progress, especially related to metal theft.
So first off, let me start with saying our job as a city is to improve the quality of life for our neighborhoods and our residents and the visitors. And one of the things that is compromising that is the rampant theft of metal in our city and all the other cities in this entire region, based mainly on the price that people will get for these metals. So we'll take any help we can get, and I really want to thank Assemblymember Gaines and Senator Emerson for their work on the legal side, and also environmental utilities and the rest of the city, because we're actually a team that has to combat this as a city, and the communities that we work in are also part of that. So let me give you some examples. So we often think about metal theft as the price it costs to replace, whether it be a catalytic converter, a backflow device, or copper in an air conditioning unit on top of your building. But the other thing it costs is you think of yourself as a business. In this climate, it's hard enough to run a business, in any climate really, but especially now in this economy, it's really tough to run a business. Now you come to your business in the morning ready to open for business, and you have no water inside your business. And can you still open without any water? Some businesses can't. We'll have a senior citizens home that couldn't get water into their home because somebody stole their backflow device. Or think about in the middle of the summer and your air conditioning is defunct because all the copper was stolen out of your air conditioning unit on the roof of your building. Can you really run a business where you have customers without air conditioning in Roseville in the middle of the summertime? Or you take MyDo, where people stole the copper wiring out of the lights, where you have soccer games and Little League games at night, where now you have no lighting, or street lights in your neighborhood. That's all goes to safety. So the impacts of the thieves stealing this metal are tremendous. And the last one, we have park and ride stations in Roseville. Imagine you go on the bus to go to work, and you come back at the end of a long day, you're tired, you want to get home to your kids, and there's softball games and things that are going on in your personal life, and you get in your car and your car won't run because you're missing the catalytic converter because it took somebody 10 seconds to cut it off your car, and they went and got 50 bucks for it at a recycling center. And so it's not just the cost of replacing those items, it's the stress and the effort that goes into replacing those items, and those all impact our quality of life in Roseville. So we really are proud that in Roseville we work as a team to combat these things. And these laws and the painting of the backflow devices will definitely help that. One of the issues, and we have to attack it from both sides, the enforcement side and the prevention side. And the painting of backflow devices, which you'll hear about in a minute, will impact both of those. So imagine an officer pulls somebody over and they have a backflow device in the back of their car. it's really hard to hold them accountable if you can't prove where that backflow device came from. If you can't find a victim that actually came from that backflow device. And believe it or not, a lot of criminals won't just freely tell us that, where they stole that from. They'll say they got it from their sister or some weird story. So the fact that it's painted or any other thing that can help us determine who the victim is helps us prosecute and helps us get that person to the district attorney's office to hold them accountable, and so they're not back in our neighborhoods doing the same thing the next day, and we can prevent that from happening tomorrow and making more victims out of our residents and our visitors. And lastly, I'd like to say these are the kind of things that we need to get out that will help prevent. So when people see that all the backflow devices are painted, maybe that will deter them from stealing here and they'll go somewhere else. But it also helps us on the back end. And these are the kind of partnerships and efforts, both prevention and enforcement, that have helped us this year so far reduce property crime by 7% and reduce total crime by 5%, when you see other cities' crime is going up. And that's on top of last year where property crime was down 7% and total crime was down 9% in this city. These are the kind of collaborative efforts, both with other city departments in the state and our neighborhoods, that will help us continue to drive down property crime and stop the scourge of metal theft on our residents and our visitors.